Hi everybody, I want to thank you for watching this evening. This is Mel Gibson. I've got some comments about him that I want to share here in just a minute, but I wanted to first start off by wishing my wonderful husband of the last 5.5 years a very happy birthday. He turned 33 years old today. I love you, honey. I hope he has had a really good birthday. He got some nice gifts. If you want to find out what they are, you'll have to ask him. But anyway, like I said, today's Tony's birthday, and I hope he had a good birthday so far. We're doing another birthday thing with his friends tomorrow at the local Hofbrau house, which there's only, I think, 3, counting this one, in the world. There's one here in northern Kentucky, there's one in Munich, Germany, and there's one, I think, like in Las Vegas, Nevada, maybe, but it's, there's only 3 in the world. So, Richard, if you're watching, if you come down, we'll give you some good German food here. But anyway, now on to Mr. Gibson here. I just happened to come across an article involving one Mel Gibson and Winona Ryder, who's like my age. There's this article that I found online. It's from TV Guide webpage. It's written by, this article was written yesterday on December 16th of 2010 and was released around 2:40 in the afternoon yesterday by one Robin Ross. And the title of the article is this: Winona Ryder, Mel Gibson made anti-Semitic and homophobic remarks 15 years ago. And I'm going to read the article verbatim to you here. It says this: Winona Ryder says Mel Gibson made anti-Semitic and homophobic remarks more than a decade before his infamous DUI arrest. Quote, 15 years ago, I was at one of those big Hollywood parties, and he was really drunk. Winona Ryder tells the January issue of GQ. I was with my friend who's gay. Mel Gibson made a really horrible gay joke. After it came up that Winona Ryder was Jewish, Gibson then, quote, said something about oven dodgers, but I didn't get it, Ryder says. It was just this weird moment, she continues. I was like, he's anti-Semitic and he's homophobic. No one believed me. Gibson, who made anti-Semitic remarks to an officer after a DUI arrest in 2006, is currently under investigation by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department on possible domestic violence charges involving ex-girlfriend Oksana Gordieva. Over the summer, several tapes of derogatory and profanity-laced tirades, allegedly by Gibson against Gordieva, were leaked online. That's pretty much the end of the article. But I tell you, it just blows my mind that, ever since Mel shot the movie The Passion of the Christ, I think he's just gone completely bonkers. Because he was, seemed fine, like in public, but then afterwards, I think the cheese slid off his cracker, and he's just been a raving nut ever since. There's that whole DUI thing back in 2006, which happened, of course, after the Passion of the Christ, which was in 2004. It was his, magnum opus, as far as I'm concerned. Passion was. It was a decent movie. Of course, if you happen to be over at my movie channel, if I'm remembering correctly, I actually shot a movie review of Passion of the Christ. There are several things that I said in that movie review about the movie, because, I happen to know that it was a very watered down version of what Jesus would have experienced, because from what I remember in school, in college that is, or university for those of you that, live overseas and not in the United States, beatings, even back in the 15th century in England, for example, were pretty violent. And, if you think about the sanitary conditions back in the day when Jesus lived, Jesus would have probably caught, heaven only knows what, back then. But seriously, this, of course, is a photo of Winona from the GQ cover. I just kind of kidnapped it off of the article. But, you know, it does blow my mind that Mel Gibson is just, you know, becoming more and more, well, nutty. It strikes me that, you know, it seems like every once in a while you hear about one of those actors going completely squirrely and just, you know, going off the deep end. I mean, like, for example, Mel Gibson and his anti-Semitic and gay joke telling back in the day with Winona. And, you know, his anti-Semitic rant back in '06. I mean, part of me has to, you know, wonder, you know, like, what, you know, other than the fact that it's known that his dad had, you know, negative views, I think, if I remember correctly, of, you know, Jewish people and everything, because I remember hearing that old man Gibson had, you know, a beef with, you know, Jewish people. I, on the other hand, don't. I actually know quite a few good Jewish people, you know, locally, who I think the world of, and they're very nice, upstanding people. You know, I mean, it's just, I have no problem with them. I mean, it's, you know, I actually find the whole Jewish culture interesting, you know, and they're very wonderfully kind and nice people that I've ever met. You know, and it just, you know, gets me that somebody would not like these people. I mean, it's just unreal. To me, it's unfathomable, is what I'm trying to say. But, you know, I always liked Winona Ryder. One of my favorite movies that she's in is Beetlejuice. I did actually, speaking of Winona Ryder and Beetlejuice, I actually did a movie review of it on my movie reviewer page. It's one of my earlier movie reviews. Another movie that she's in that I have here is Mermaids. I happen to like that movie too. But yeah, back to the whole thing with Mel Gibson. You know, seriously, part of me wonders if he doesn't have like bipolar or he's manic or something, because it's like the more stuff I hear about him, the more I really truly think the man very well might be, you know, in a word, manic, you know, because, I mean, it sounds, not that I'm a psychologist by any means, but, you know, it's just the way that it sounds to me from the things that I'm reading and, you know, the things that I hear, like, on the news, like when I do watch, actually, TV on the, like, news channels and stuff. I mean, it really truly sounds like, you know, Mel Gibson has just gone completely manic, and, you know, like I said earlier, his cheese has slipped off his cracker, and he's a raving nut at this point. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, maliciously or anything. It's just, that's just the way it sounds to me. I mean, I'm just, you know, stating what it sounds like to me is all it is. I mean, it's purely my opinion. And it's not that I'm trying to slander him or anything. I'm not, for those of you that like to misconstrue stuff. But it just, that's what it really truly sounds like, is he's just gone completely, you know, nutty off the deep end. And, you know, he's got some personal issues going on there that I think he needs to seek some professional help from a licensed therapist on. Head shrinker, or whatever you want to call him, therapist. But yeah, I think, you know, since Mel Gibson's got all that money, you know, I'm sure he can get the best mental health help that he can get, you know. And I really hope that he does, because, let's face it, the man really could use every little bit of help he could possibly get, because I think there's some internal issues going on there that, you know, need some explaining, or at least he needs something to calm him down. Old Mel Gibson does. I mean, really. You know, because part of me seriously wonders, you know, like, what might be really going on there. I mean, because it does sound like he needs to take himself out of, you know, acting for a while and give himself, well, what I would call a mental health break, like, say, for the next 2 decades. You know, because, I mean, really, he does. really truly believe that Mel Gibson needs to give himself a mental health break. Get his stuff in order. And, I mean, seriously, as far as his ex-girlfriend goes, I think he really needs to leave her alone and stop saying mean-spirited things to her if that is what really happened. And, I mean, he's got, 14 kids between 2 women, and most of them are by his ex-wife. I mean, seriously, if I was Mel Gibson, I would be going, okay, here's a clear sign that I need to back it up, and I need to, kind of pull myself out of the limelight. I need to go get me some mental health help and, pull my life together, get my head screwed on straight, and, get my house in order before I go out in the public eye, because this guy, from everything that I'm seeing and hearing, as I mentioned, sounds like he, needs more help than he's currently apparently getting. I mean, part of me just really truly wonders about him. I mean, not that Winona Ryder's, a saint by any means. I mean, let's face it, she, took the 5-finger discount on some clothing and some other items, but, I mean, what she's done is, less egregious compared to, bashing people's lifestyle preferences. I mean, if somebody wants to be Jewish or gay or bi or straight or, transvestite or what have you, that's not Mel Gibson's place to knock it, in my opinion. I mean, because, I know a lot of really fine, like I mentioned before, Jewish folks, and I also happen to know some really terrific people who are gay or bisexual or transgendered and everything, and they are some of the nicest people I've ever met. I mean, and I really think the world of them as people, and I actually get along with them really well, and I have no problem with any of them, and I mean, that just, astounds me that somebody who, as, as famous as Mel Gibson doesn't have somebody, say to him, what you're saying is, in a word, wrong. Granted, yes, you're entitled to your opinion and everything, but don't you think that, with your power, your status, and, your celebrity and everything, that you might want to keep those thoughts to yourself, because, you're an influence and a role model for young people in this day and age, and with, the rash of everything, of, suicides and, teenagers that are gay or, might be bi or whatever. I mean, the kind of stuff that Mel Gibson's saying, I really think does have a negative effect on these kinds of kids, because, the other kids that are, straight or, don't like that kind of stuff like Mel Gibson doesn't like them, these kids will, take it out on the children that are gay or might be bi or, gender confused or what have you. But, I mean, it's just, this kind of stuff, with Mel Gibson, shows, what actually is wrong with some of today's society. It's, judgmental and everything. I mean, I really do not think that it's right that some of these kids, have had, horrible things to them done, and have horrible things done to them, is what I meant to say. Or, has been ridiculed by, their classmates and everything. I mean, that's just plain awful to me. And, I really do think that, people famous like Mel Gibson should, be willing to, show that, hey, look, people may be different from me, or I may not agree with their lifestyle choices, but, I can work with them, get along with them, and, we all can, work together as people and not say derogatory comments to each other. I mean, you're entitled to think and do whatever you want within, reason and everything, but, saying mean-spirited things about other people that, may not necessarily be true is another ball of wax entirely. I mean, it'd be, just wrong for me to say, oh, that kind of behavior is acceptable and everything when I know that it's wrong. And I know that I don't approve of it. I mean, it'd be like me saying, well, I don't like Catholics because they're Catholic. I mean, I know some very nice Catholic people, and, one of them, actually there's a couple of them that happen to be very close to my husband, and, they're two very fine Catholics, and, have no problem with Catholic people. I mean, you know, it's the same thing with Jewish folks, as I mentioned earlier. I know some good Jewish folks who I get along with, you know, and some gay folks that I get along with very well. Matter of fact, there's, oh gosh, I must know, like, I'd say probably 10 gay people right now that I deal with on a somewhat regular basis that, you know, I absolutely get along with. And I mean, they're just, you know, some of the sweetest people I've ever talked to. I mean, they and I always get along. I never have any problems with them, and they never have any problems with me. I mean, because I figure what they do behind closed doors is none of my affair. And if that's what they want to do and that's what makes them happy, you know, hey, who am I to pass judgment on them, you know? That's how I really truly feel. I mean, I find Mel Gibson's behavior, in a word, disturbing. Not to mention, like I said, wrong, you know? And I just really, it makes me annoyed that somebody like him hasn't, like I said before, hasn't had somebody say to him, did it occur to you that, you know, you're, like, making people not like you, you know? I mean, if you're in the movie business, you know, you like everybody else is there to make money, and if you're alienating the people that are actually paying your check, i.e. the public, you know, you won't be selling movie tickets, and, you know, a lot of, excuse me, the studios will notice that, you know, because me, for example, in the paying public that pays to see your movies, you know, I can choose to not go to your movie. Even if, you know, everybody else on the cast might be, you know, awesome, and, you know, everybody else, including you, has done a really good job. You know, if I don't like you, I won't pay to go see you in a movie. I mean, there's, you know, a few movies that, you know, might have been really good movies, but I, of course, have refused to watch them just because of, you know, like, this person or that person might be in the movie, and I'd rather not look at them. You know, that's how I am, and I'm sure that everybody else would agree with me on that they can think of an actor or an actress or multiple actors or actresses that they have, you know, not seen in movies because you don't like that particular actor or actress, you know, and you'd rather not pay money to be subjected to looking at them or having to listen to them talk or anything, you know. And I'm really getting put off by, you know, hearing about Mel Gibson's shenanigans over there. But anyway, I just wanted to get on and share my thoughts here about, you know, Mel Gibson and his latest, you know, monkeying around. And anyway, I also want to thank everybody for watching. And I do again want to wish Tony a very happy birthday, because he's a wonderful husband and everything. And, well, anyway, I hope you guys have a really great evening and very safe and happy holiday season. If I don't shoot another video here in the next, I'd say few days, which is entirely possible I might, because, you know, I'm thinking up some other stuff here now as I'm talking. Well, anyway, I hope you guys have a great evening. Bye.